What's up guys, DuArktik with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to take a look at the Famine Scourge event. We are going to take a look exactly what you need to do in order to obtain 1.5 million points so you can collect all your milestones. So we're going to take a look at which Scourge I used, and then we are going to take a look at each of the nodes, and in some of these nodes I try to use new characters to see if we can improve the performance on the Famine Scourge event. So this is going to be like to beat as fast as possible and trying to one-shot a node so we can save time on this run. So as always, if you like the information on this video, make sure to share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure to smash that like button. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take a look at which scourges I used and the difficulty you have to do in order to obtain 1.5 million points. Okay, so you can see right here I did it on difficulty 8, and I think difficulty 8 is fairly accessible because the enemies don't have a lot of HP, and you just need a few scourges to add up to 1.5 million points. And overall I find these scourges very easy, but it depends. You might find other scourges more convenient to you, so you just adapt to what you like. But I'm gonna show you which ones I used, and these ones in my opinion make the nodes extremely easy, and you'll see throughout the video that yes, they didn't cause us any problem. Okay, so the first one I like is Stay Down. This one removes revives from our characters, but it doesn't matter because we are not going to use any characters that revive. Then we have Going Rogue. This one is going to increase positive effects on the enemies from 1 turn to 3 turns, and negative effects on our team from 1 turn to 3 turns. So this means that you have to defeat the enemies fast, and you also have to clear the negative effects away fast as well from your team. Okay, now we take a look at the Power Siphon 2. This one gives 20% damage to 20% drain to the enemies, and that means 20% of their damage will convert into healing. And this one doesn't matter because if you kill the enemies extremely fast, they are not going to deal damage to you, so it doesn't matter. Then we have a Dark Rally, and this one, when a player uses character abilities, all enemies gain more energy. So this one is very convenient because you use your ultimates, and you can decide between basic, special and ultimate, and like this you can know exactly which ability the enemies are going to use, and that's awesome because you can force Ebony Maw to do his ultimate rather than the special if it's more convenient for you, which is the case a few times. Then we have Weakened, reducing players' healing by 20%. It's not a big deal. Then we have Unkillable. When enemies drop below 50% health, they gain death proof. This is usually not a problem as well. Then we have Too Clever. When a player uses their special ability, they gain ability block. You have to be careful with this one. There will be one mistake that I make here, and it's not the first time, but you'll see in a second. And finally, do we have any other scourges? Okay, so those are all the scourges I used, 134, and that was enough to get 1.5 million. Okay, so now let's take a look at each of the nodes and which teams I used in order to beat this as fast as possible. I'm gonna be extremely honest with you. Beating all of these, it took me less than 1 hour. It was like 35 minutes or so. So it's great because you're gonna save a lot of time, and you don't have to reset the nodes multiple times in order for you to win. So with all that said, let's get started. Let's take a look at this run. Here we go for the first node, and on this first node I always use the same team. I think the team is very solid, and it also allows you to prepare some cooldowns for the nodes that we face in the future. So every single time I do the Famine Scourge event, I always use this team. It has Shang-Chi, it has Squirrel Girl, it has Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman is still a very underrated character. And then we are going to use Cloak and Dagger. So if you're a new player, you might not have these characters ready, but if you're a veteran player or somewhat of a somewhere in the middle, you might have these characters available, and you'll see that if you play exactly like I do, you're gonna have a very easy time. But Spider-Woman here is very convenient, and of course you can take any team you want, any team you like, any team you can afford, I guess, in terms of gear. But I find this to be the easiest team. You just have to be a little bit careful with how you play each of the nodes. Okay, so we are getting started, and the first ability and the most important ability is this ability block from Spider-Woman, ability block on Polaris, and you pretty much won the match. Okay, after that you can do a few options on which is the target you want to prioritize. I like to go after Polaris. I want to make sure that she does not apply disrupt to my team, and that's going to be extremely important. So you saw right there that instead of doing the ultimate with Cloak, I did the special, because the ultimate here is just unnecessary. It's kind of an overkill ability, and therefore it's not important for us to do it. So you saw right there that Polaris, she got completely destroyed, and that's great for us. Then we have the taunt with Captain Sam, we have the taunt with Juggernaut. That's not a problem for us. We are just going to attack these enemies a little bit and trying to push the next wave. So we're going to use the ultimate with Shang-Chi. We're going to slap all of them, and if you have offense up on your Shang-Chi, which you should, because he's next to Dagger, he's going to do insane amount of damage, and he's going to destroy all the enemies that you have on the field. My Shang-Chi, he only has 5 red stars, so it's nothing special. So if you have anything higher than that, you're going to have even easier time. After that, when you have the second wave, I like to focus on long shot. I want to get rid of long shot as fast as possible, and that's my main priority. Then you want to get rid of Toad. Toad is going to clear your positive effects away. It can be quite annoying, and it's going to be nice for you to remove him. Okay, so if Magneto does the ultimate to you, it's not a big deal, but at this point in time, you need to save your cooldowns with Squirrel Girl, because you are no longer going to use Squirrel Girl, and you want her to have all the cooldowns ready for the node number 5. So that's all we have to do in order to win on the node number 1. Once again, I think this is the best team with Spider-Woman, Squirrel Girl, Dagger, Shang-Chi, and Cloak. Once again, I'm going to repeat again, make sure you have all the cooldowns ready on your Squirrel Girl, because it's going to be very important for node number 5. Okay, so there we go. We defeated Magneto, and the first node is complete. Now let's take a look at the second node, and on the second node we are going to use a few new characters and test them out to increase our efficiency and how fast we hit these nodes. Okay, so for node number 2 we are taking Shang-Chi, Cloak, Dagger, and now we're also going to take Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Man 2099. In the past, whenever we were doing these nodes, we would always sack the node with some kind of low-level characters and so on, but together with Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Man 2099, that's not really a problem anymore. You just have to make sure that Greg does not spawn next to Bishop and Hela, otherwise you're gonna get some turn rewind and it's not very convenient. I was trying to figure out which of the abilities have the disrupt, and because I wanted to apply that disrupt to Bishop, but it's required for you to have Spider Weaver on the team, so you have stealth early on. Okay, so we get attacked by Morbius, and now Spider-Man 2099 is going to use his special ability on Gambit. I thought this was a good idea, but maybe not. Maybe you are fine just using his ultimate and applying slow and defense down to everyone, and that will balance out the amount of offense downs that I have on my team. But either way, we are just destroying the enemies with all that damage that Cloak, Dagger, Shang-Chi and everyone else provides. Now, because I didn't use the ultimate of cloak and dagger on the node number 1 because it was 100% not necessary. Now we can completely destroy everyone with the cloak's ultimate, and when the second wave drops we use the ultimate of dagger and we are going to destroy everyone once again. We got a little bit unlucky with Gambit, we were not able to apply disrupt to him, but this was first try, first kill, so we are not going to use these characters anymore in the future, and that means we don't have to worry about their cooldowns or anything like that, so we can just destroy whichever way we want. Okay, so I use the special of dagger there to remove the heal block and to heal up our team, and Spider-Man Noir doing a little bit of damage, nothing special. Shang-Chi, Cloak and Dagger, they are the best characters here, and they're the ones that give the most benefits. It's just Spider-Man 2099 once again and Spider-Man Noir. It was just to test the new characters and see if we are going to get some viability out of them, and you can clearly see that yes, whether you use the ultimate first or the special first with either of them, you are going to be quite successful in this second node of the Famine Scourge. Okay, let's take a look at node number 3, and on the first node it requires city characters, now it requires mutant characters, and my goal was trying to one-shot both of the nodes using the same team, so this implies that you don't have to invest on any other teams in case you are a new player, free-to-play player, mid-game player, something like that. I just wanted to make sure that you can one-shot both of the nodes without having to invest on multiple teams, and yes, it was the case. Okay, so I like to apply that ability block to dagger because once again, depending on which abilities you are using, if you are using ultimates or specials, she might attack with her special, which is going to heal all the enemies, or she might attack with her ultimate and do tons of damage to my team. Then I like to ability block Kate Bishop, just to make sure that she doesn't flip my positive effects and also that she doesn't apply tons of negative effects to my team with her ultimate ability. Okay, so now we are going to focus on the character that has vulnerability, which in this case is Thanos, and because we have Sunfire as a striker, is going to double tap Thanos and is going to do massive amount of damage to him. Okay, so now we have Kate Bishop. I'm going to use the ultimate of Phantom X to remove all the evades from her and also to do some nice amount of damage to her. Okay, so now with the ultimate of Rogue, I'm gonna save it for the second wave to drop, and I'm just gonna basic with Rogue. And the amazing thing about Gambit is that whenever the enemies have turns, Gambit keeps attacking them, and that's so convenient for us. Okay, so at this point I was going to try to remove the positive effects from Ebony Maw. Unfortunately, it was not possible for me to do so. This team, the Unlimited X-Men, they struggle a little bit with removing positive effects from the enemies, and for me to do that, I was waiting for the ultimate of Rogue. That's why I saved the ultimate. It's so I can use it against these upcoming characters. Some of them have evades, others have the immunity, and it becomes quite annoying to deal with them. Okay, so this was the mistake I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, is that you cannot use the special with Sunfire. You have to be very careful with the special of Sunfire because he's going to apply ability block to himself. So this was a mistake I made in the past, and here I made it once again. Hopefully on the next Scourge I will be able to do this properly, but it's not a big deal. We still apply offense up to most of the characters, we just don't benefit the most out of Sunfire. Okay, either way, Gambit is still doing a great job. You want to get rid of that Dormammu. Even that he has long cooldown on his abilities, he does a lot of damage with his basic attack, plus he applies bleeds, applies offense down to your team, applies slow, so it's quite annoying, so just get rid of him as fast as possible. Okay, so with that Star-Lord T'Challa, you also have to be very careful, because with that offense up, he does tons and tons of damage, so be very careful. It might be a dangerous situation for you in case you are using any other team. With the Unlimited is not a big problem because they have a lot of evades, but otherwise, once again, with any other team like Astonishing X-Men or even uncanny, it would be dangerous for your team because of all that damage that Star-Lord T'Challa does to your team. Okay, so we are trying to remove those evades. Once again, he has so many evades because of that Scourge we activated going rogue. It gives a lot of points, but it's a little bit annoying to deal with when you are dealing with the characters that obtain evade. Okay, so here we go now with the basic of Sunfire, and finally we were able to get rid of that Star-Lord T'Challa, and we are ready to go to the next node. Okay, so here we are for the next node. We're going to use exactly the same team. This is my goal. This was my goal, to use the same characters, just to make sure that even if you invest only on the unlimited X-Men, this Horseman team with Rogue, and that are required for Apocalypse, my goal was to make sure that you can win by just using these characters. Okay, so my favorite move here is to apply that ability block to Emma Frost, and you want to get rid of Emma Frost as fast as possible because she slows your characters, and unfortunately that's one thing about the unlimited X-Men, is that they are quite slow. Okay, so we also apply slow to all the enemies with Dazzler, and then doing the ultimate with Gambit plus offense up, that allowed us to heal up to the max thanks to the drain that this team has with Rogue's passive. After Emma Frost, your priority target is going to be Madeline Pryor, because she mind controls the enemy allies that she has, and she uses them to attack against our team, which is definitely something we don't want. After that, you just go after Invisible Woman and Silver Samurai, and it's done. So because this is a Horseman team, this might be one of the strongest teams you have in terms of investment, and as you can see, you can clearly use it to defeat both of the nodes of this mutant lane on a Famine Scourge. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at node number 5. We are going to use the Young Avengers, and we didn't sack the node. In the previous runs I made on the channel, I always sack the node with like Inhumans or A-Force. You can do that, it's a lot easier if you can consume all these cooldowns from Zemo, from Yellow Jacket, and also from Taskmaster, but it's not really necessary. If you get your Young Avengers to a certain point, they can do fine in this Scourge. Okay, so here we go. Pay attention to Squirrel Girl and pay attention to this exploit that I'm going to use. So instead of using the special first, I'm actually going to use the ultimate first, and this is because Squirrel Girl, she got so much turn meter before she had her first turn that it will allow us to have 2 turns back to back. So I was able to apply offense down to all the enemies and still heal up my entire team. And this was great because it was before Ella took her turn. That means Ella did 50% less damage. Okay, so in terms of priority targets, the targets you want to focus on is the original Doctor Strange, original in Marvel Strike Force. Then you want to focus on Strange Supreme. These are the most dangerous characters to deal with early on, and you want to make sure that Strange Supreme has offense down and he doesn't has offense up, just in case he does his ultimate, because if he has no offense down and if he also has offense up, he's going to do massive damage to your team, and that can be quite problematic. On top of Strange Supreme, the other characters you have to deal with is Taskmaster and Yo-Yo. After you deal with Taskmaster and Yo-Yo, you should go after Hela, so you stop having these Gregs around delaying your attacks. Okay, so Hela uses her special, nothing to worry about that. Then Deadpool does her ultimate. The ultimate from Deadpool, it can be a little bit dangerous, so you want to make sure that your Miss Marvel has a nice amount of deflects, it has a nice amount of healing in order for her to survive. Okay, so you can see right here, because I removed the offense up from Strange Supreme and because he has offense down, his ultimate did barely to no damage. So it's just something that you have to pay attention in case you cannot destroy him before he does the ultimate, which is also possible. I have done it in the past, And once again, if you sack the node, it's gonna be a lot easier for you to deal with that. Okay, so Taskmaster is gone, Strange Supreme is gone, now you're going after Yo-Yo, and as soon as you get rid of Yo-Yo, you're gonna have a much easier time, because now your characters are going to do full damage. Right now, Yo-Yo is applying offense down to everyone, and that delays how fast you deal with the enemies. Okay, so Yo-Yo is gone, and now it's time to wreck. We are going once again to focus on that Hela. Make sure that Hela is not doing any crazy stuff to you. And we are also going to try to remove those positive effects from Ebony Maw, especially the immunity. We want to remove it as fast as possible because it's such a problematic buff for us. If he has immunity, we cannot control him, and that's definitely something we don't want. So I tried to remove the immunity with Kate Bishop. I was unsuccessful, but I used the ultimate of American Chavez to do so, and as you saw, it was enough to win. Okay, so after Ebony Maw is gone, you want to keep going after Hela, and you also have to pay attention to Deathpool. Deathpool, she already has 3 charges, and you want to make sure you get rid of her before she gets 4 charges, because if she gets those 4 charges or 5 charges, her ultimate is going to delete one of your characters, and there is no way you can survive from that. And then you don't have the full team of the Young Avengers for the last node, which is a problem. So be very careful with that Deathpool. Make sure that she doesn't have any crazy charges on her. Anything above 4 is extremely dangerous, and you can lose one of your characters. Okay, so I'm gonna focus on Hela and also on that Elsa. The Elsa had offense up, so I removed the offense up to offense down. And now that Elsa has offense down, I can focus on Sunfire, because he's going to apply defense down to my team, and I don't want any of that. So I'm gonna try to destroy Sunfire before he destroys my team. Okay, so after Sunfire is gone, we have the double Elsa. It's not a problem as long as they have offense down. You have to pay more attention actually to Yellow Jacket, because his ultimate does insane amount of damage. So be very careful with that. Once again, it's another character that if he has offense up, you want to try to remove it. Okay, so here with Squirrel Girl, I was thinking about healing the characters, but I just decided to use the basic attack and save all the cooldowns for node number 10, where we are going to use exactly the same team in order to defeat that node. Okay, so there we go, node number 5 with the Young Avengers. As you can see, if we have that minor preparation on node 1 with Squirrel Girl, then it's gonna make this node number 5 a lot easier when you have all your cooldowns ready, and you can use the ultimate and the special early on in the fight. Now let's take a look at node number 6, and on node number 6 and node number 7 it's required villains, any kind of villains. So I decided to take the new pair that we have in the game. I think this is something that many new players should have access to, Hela and Zombie Iron Man. On top of that, we have Lady Deathstrike, which is somewhat farmable, and we have Morgan Le Fay. If you don't have Omega Red, you can pretty much take any other villain character, because yes, he's strong, but he's not like a must-have for this situation. Something you can do better than I did is use Lady Deathstrike to kill the minions of Nick Fury, and that's going to give you a huge advantage, and you're going to apply tons and tons of bleeds on the enemies. This is something I usually do on the Famine Scourge, but I completely forgot about doing it today, but that's fine. We still did it very fast and very quickly, and very well. Anyway, so now that we have a ton of bleeds on all the enemies, we have offense down on Shang-Chi, so his ultimate is not going to cause us a lot of problems. At this point, you want to spread as many bleeds as possible, so that triggers the passive ability from Zombie Iron Man, which mind controls the enemies. Okay, so we are trying to do as good as we can, and I'm going to use the ultimate from the special ability from Morgan Le Fay, just to make sure that I can get rid of Icarus before he does his ultimate. Okay, so after that, I'm just going to use the ultimate of Lady Deathstrike, applying some bleeds, applying some defense down, and save the cooldowns for the next node, because the second villain node, node number 7, can be a little bit problematic, because you have a lot of A-Force characters, and it's very hard to land those negative effects to the A-Force characters. So this is why I want to make sure that I have all cooldowns ready on my characters, so I can use them there. Okay, so Killmonger is killing some Gregs. This is the value of Hela on the Scourge, is that whenever they kill the Gregs, it's just beneficial for you if you have the right Scourges. It's not gonna work with all Scourges that you have available. For example, those Scourges that whenever a character dies gives energy to the enemies, that's something you have to be careful with. Sometimes it's not a problem, other times it is, so just pay attention to it and do the most with your team. Okay, so there we go, that was node number 6. Now let's take a look at node number 7. Okay, so here we go, node number 7. We are going to use exactly the same team. Once again, this node is going to be very problematic because of Jessica Jones and the fact that she gives insane levels of resistance to all characters, but if they are CT and if they are A-Force, she gives even more resistance to them. Okay, so there Miko Minoru, she almost destroyed my team, but that's fine. She flipped the defense up into defense down. It's not a huge deal because our team is extremely fast, and we are just going to destroy the enemies. We have Omega Red ready with his ultimate, and after that, in case we want, we also have the ultimate of Hela, so we could destroy all these enemies, but you have to be also careful with your cooldowns. You don't want to overexpend, and then when the second wave drops, you are not ready to deal with that. Okay, so I use the special ability of Omega Red, and then I use the ultimate ability of Hela to spread all those ability blocks around, bleeds, disrupts, and so on. It's just massive, this combination of Omega Red and Hela. On top of that, Zombie Iron Man is also able to extend the negative effects that both Omega Red and Hela and even Morgan Le Fay apply to the enemies. That's very convenient. All this team overall is amazing. The amount of negative effects, the amount of control you have is just something else. Okay, so I'm gonna apply ability block to Phoenix just to make sure that she doesn't do her special. I thought that the Beast could remove the negative effects from the team, but then I remember that he only clears negative effects from astonishing X-Men characters. So don't worry about the Beast, just ability block Phoenix and you are going to be just fine. After that, you want to make sure that you destroy magic. She applies barrier to Uncanny, she gives drain to Uncanny, and she also gives additional armor to Uncanny, so the faster you get rid of her, the better it will be for you. Okay, so at this point in time, I decided just to go after Beast, get rid of him, because Phoenix is with ability block, so you can just ignore her. If Phoenix has ability block, there is nothing for you to worry about. Okay, so with Zombie Iron Man, we need to make sure that we spread as many bleeds as possible, so the enemies attack each other because of the zombie effect. Okay, we have the last 3 characters. I'm gonna focus on Spider-Woman. Of these 3 characters, Spider-Woman is the most dangerous character. After that, we're gonna deal with Captain Marvel. Not exactly because she is dangerous, but we don't want her to heal up and waste our time, so we're gonna focus in just that. And then we're gonna deal with Phoenix on her own. At this point, like easy mode, right? Phoenix is on her own, we are just going to destroy her, summon Dark Phoenix, and with Morgan Le Fay basic, she will just go away. Okay, so that was node number 7, the second villain node, and we were able to use this new combo of Zombie Iron Man and Hela, and as you can see, they make your life very easy on this villain section of the Famine Scourge event. Okay, now we're going to take a look at node number 8, and this is Cosmic Mystic. And we don't have many options here. We actually don't have many options at all, but some of the options we have, they are pretty decent. So we have Eternals, we have Deathpool, which gives drain to all the Mystic characters, and we have Hela. If we have Hela, we also have Greg, and I'm also going to use Thanos here, because I want to give as much energy as possible to Icarus, just to make sure that on the second node of this lane, the Cosmic Mystic lane, that we are able to use all the abilities from Icarus. That's why I brought Thanos around. Now, if you have Dormammu, you should definitely bring Dormammu. If not for the first node, for the second node, it's extremely convenient for you to use Dormammu. I heard that around 40,000 people already have Dormammu, so all of you 40,000 people should use your Dormammus on this Scourge, because yeah, once again, there are not that many Cosmic Mystic characters. Okay, so make sure you don't taunt with Thanos. This is a mistake that a lot of people make. You taunt with Thanos and then he just dies. You don't want that. You want to make sure that no one taunts and that the damage is spread around, especially the damage goes towards Greg, so you can benefit instead of having your characters dying off. Okay, so your priority characters are going to be Moon Knight, but before Moon Knight you want to make sure that you get rid of Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider, the passive attacks, the passive retaliation attacks that he deals to you are very, very severe, and that's definitely something you don't want to deal with. After Ghost Rider and after Moon Knight, you want to make sure that you destroy the Spider-Punk. He's just so annoying with the heal block, and that is going to cause you a lot of problems. So once again, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, and Spider-Punk. After Spider-Punk, you should focus on Symbiote Spider-Man and Scarlet Spider, because they are going to apply slow and defense down to your team, and that's definitely something you don't want on this Famine Scourge event, because while it's somewhat easy, it can get a little bit problematic if you let these characters to go around and apply these annoying negative effects to you. Okay, so there we go. It was one shot, one kill, so I didn't try to go again. I could get like better efficiency and so on, but I just didn't want to waste time. So unfortunately, we were not able to get rid of that Spider-Punk as fast as I recommended, but it still worked out. Okay, so now we're gonna take a look at the last Cosmic Mystic node, and then we're gonna take a look at the final node of the Famine Scourge event. Okay, so for node number 9, we are going to use similar team, but this time we are going to use Silver Surfer. If you have Silver Surfer as a healer, he is very, very convenient for this node, because he goes so fast that he just ends up becoming a healer from how fast he goes and all the regenerations he applies to your team. So unfortunately, because I didn't try to reset the nodes before, my Hela died and I was not able to take full advantage of Greg. And here with the Silver Surfer, I'm just going to use his basic, because I don't really care about his ultimate or his special for now. I'm going to save those abilities so I can actually use them whenever the second wave of enemies comes around. Okay, so now my Deadpool, because of all the drain she has, she was able to heal herself up from pretty much 0 health to like 60 to 75% health, which is awesome. And now that we have the second wave of enemies, you want to get rid of Mary Hill as fast as possible. She's gonna heal up her allies tons and tons of times, and you don't want to deal with any of that. The healing comes out of her passive, so it's going to be important for you to really stun her or to just destroy her as fast as possible. You can also apply heal block to the enemies, and that's going to be fine, but if you are using the ultimate with Silver Surfer, make sure that you use it after Mary Hill uses her ultimate. Otherwise, you are just going to give her more energy, and that means that she's going to be able to clear those heal block away. Okay, so we lost Deadpool, unfortunately, but we got rid of Mary Hill. So now we are going to use the passive regeneration from the Eternals and also from Silver Surfer to destroy the enemies. And you just have to make sure that you remove all those offense subs. All those defense subs, offense subs, you want to use your basic attacks and your abilities of flipping positive effects in order to deal with that. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use that once again with Icarus. He's not going to flip the positive effects himself, but he's going to get the assist from Cersei, and she's going to be able to do that. Now with Captain Sam, he's going to taunt, so I don't have to flip his positive effects. I can do that after. And with Silver Surfer, I'm going to use his basic attack once again, and still is positive effects. So like this, I have defense up, offense up counters, and speed up, which is awesome. So now you're going after the taunt of Captain Sam, and as soon as you get rid of the taunt of Captain Sam, you really want to focus on that Kestrel. Kestrel, she has been alive for way too long, so we want to get rid of her. Now we're going to use the ultimate of Icarus a second time, plus those minions, in order to destroy Kestrel and also Kingpin. So even if Kingpin would not summon the minions, it wouldn't really matter because Captain Sam is extremely low and they would all die anyway. So there we go, that was the last Mystic Cosmic node. As you can see, this one is not super easy, but if you have Dormammu, it's gonna be a lot easier for you. But you can also bring two teams, for example Hero Asgardians, in one run, and then you can clear up with your Eternals because you'll no longer need any of these characters. Okay, here we go, node number 10, the final node of the Famine Scourge event, and once again we are not going to sack the node because I think it's unnecessary. And we are going to try to focus on Icarus, trying to get rid of him as fast as possible. And Icarus is not a big deal if Cersei is not around. So as you can see, he was not able to flip the positive effects on us because it's required for him to have Cersei for that. So we are going to use the ultimate of Squirrel Girl once again before you use the special, just to make sure that all the enemies have offense down. This is going to prevent a lot of damage, and this is going to give you enough time for you to use the ultimate and then still have time to use the special, because it's not going to be a problem in terms of the healing. Okay, so after we deal with Icarus, you want to get rid of the Hero Asgardians. We have Valkyrie, we have Lady Thor, and we have Sif. Both of those characters are problematic, but the most problematic ones are going to be Lady Thor and Valkyrie. Especially Valkyrie, you want to get rid of her right after you get rid of Icarus. Be careful with Miss Marvel, make sure you apply some vulnerabilities to Miss Marvel, so whenever she taunts, you can clear the taunt very quickly. So you can see right here that we keep getting stuck behind those taunts, and it can be quite annoying. So make sure you apply vulnerabilities to her so you can remove all of that faster. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of Miss Marvel. Usually it's not the case, we just delete Icarus, but she was taunting so much that it's just better to get rid of her. And now we're gonna focus finally on Icarus, and then we can focus on the Hero Asgardians. Okay, so Valkyrie, she has blind, she's pretty low, but I really want to get rid of her because the more charges she gets, the more she's going to heal up her team, and that's not convenient for us. On top of that, now they have all those buffs that I wanted to prevent them to have. Unfortunately, we were not able to do so. Once again, being stuck behind that Miss Marvel was a little bit problematic. You can reset these a few times. I just went for the first try, first kill, and that's why this is not like the perfect execution, because like if you're trying to save time, you just can't care about that much. Okay, so that Valkyrie is finally gone, and we got unlucky. Once again, we could restart the nodes to see if we can get some better RNG, but it's just not necessary. We are just going to deal with it. It might be a little bit tough to deal with those Hero Asgardians full of buffs, but yeah, the young Avengers, they are strong enough, they are resilient enough in order to deal with that. Okay, so we keep focusing on that Lady Thor, and at this point in time we should also start thinking about Crystal. And the reason why it's because we have a lot of Inhumans on the field, one of them being Crystal. We also have Miss Marvel and Black Bolt, and you want to make sure that you get rid of Crystal, because without dealing with Crystal you cannot deal with the other characters, because she's going to clear the negative effects away, and she's also going to heal them up for 40% of her max health, which is quite annoying. Okay, so we are almost done with Lady Thor. Now we are stuck behind the Town of Sif once again. Like I said, this is not the best RNG. We got stuck behind the towns quite a few times. We were not able to remove the defense subs and immunities exactly when we wanted. But once again, this was first try, first kill, and like this we don't have to waste more time dealing with it. Okay, so once again we have the same situation. We have a second Miss Marvel that's going to be taunting constantly whenever you are attacking hero brawlers or whenever you are attacking Inhumans, so pay attention to that. We have tons of hero brawlers and Inhumans on the field. The hero brawlers, it's X23, the Inhumans is Crystal once again and Black Bolt. Okay, so finally we are going to remove that Lady Thor, and now we are ready to deal with Crystal and also with the X23. Both of these characters can cause you a little bit of problems. X23, she does a lot of piercing damage, which is inconvenient, and she also has an ability block that if you have deflects on your team, it's going to be guaranteed, and she's also going to attack twice. So you can see the amount of damage that she did to my Miss Marvel because of exactly that. We have those deflects, and that's inconvenient for us. That's inconvenient for us when we are facing X23. Okay, so finally we are able to attack that Crystal, and because she was already below 50% health, it didn't trigger the taunt of Miss Marvel. Now we're gonna spread some vulnerabilities just to make sure that we can get rid of Crystal and Miss Marvel within the same period of time. And then we just have to deal with other characters. We are pretty much done here. X23 on her own, it's not a big deal. Black Bolt, as you can see, very problematic. And I'm gonna lose my Miss Marvel because unfortunately I'm just not able to heal her up. And remember that whenever hero brawlers attack, and in this case X23, Miss Marvel is also going to assist and cause you more problems. So pay attention to that. Make sure you get rid of those Miss Marvels, especially before they use their special, otherwise she's going to heal up for a bunch, and that's just going to make you waste more time, and if you are doing this for the first time, it's going to put you at risk of not being able to do it. Okay, so with Echo we're gonna apply the slow with the ultimate and do a bunch of damage. Now we are finally able to get rid of X23, especially because she has that Disrupt. Disrupt is very strong against X23. And finally we're gonna defeat the last character on this Famine Scourge event, Black Bolt. So there we go, guys. That was the 1.5 million run using some of the new characters and some of the strategies that we used in the past, but with the more times that we run this event, we're gonna get more and more efficient doing this run. And you can see from the amount of efficiency points we got that this was almost the best you can do for the 1.5 million points. Okay guys, so that's gonna be the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the best characters, I guess, for the Famine Scourge event to obtain, and the best strategy, the best kill order for you to obtain the 1.5 million points, and that's going to allow you to collect all those milestone rewards. So let's speed up this a little bit. You can see right here we got 21,000 bonus points, that means efficiency points. Let me know in the comments below if you got a higher efficiency point, higher efficiency score than I did. And now taking a look at the rewards, we're gonna get a bunch of Misty gear, which is interesting because Rogue is Mutant, and her event rewards Misty gear, but that's fine because there are so many Misty characters. It's always useful to get the more additional gear. So we got rank 32 right next to Polo Master, so shout out to Polo Master. We are very close to the same score. So there we go. Those are the rewards from the Famine Scourge event, in case you already have your rogue at 7 yellow stars. And that's gonna be the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Good luck throughout your journey through the Famine Scourge event, if this is one of the first times you do or the second time and you are still trying to max out that rogue. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.